This episode is also brought to you by Oddmo's Pizza in Canby. Handmade awesome pizza plus craft beer, wine, and cider delivered. Order today at 503-263-8444 or visit them online at oddmos.com.
Welcome to Now Hear This Canby,
your source for news.
The threat of a possible teacher strike was avoided this week.
There's a new, irresistibly cute creature winning over fans, and its name is Scootaloo.
Sports?
It's like Lucy in the football. You want to kick a field goal, if they take it away from you.
We had to learn how to win.
Goal can't be in the last second of the game!
And interesting conversations.
Because I'm one of the strongest girls ever, and I know that for a fact.
I just really enjoy writing gossip as if I was a bear.
With an old maid daughter that make the best moonshine in the coast.
And if it would have hit me in the face, I think I would have died. I really do.
I guarantee you would have died, man. Are you kidding me?
Welcome to the Now Hear This Canby podcast. Thanks for listening. I'm Tyler Frankie, and this is what's happening this week in our community. The Oregon Department of Environmental Quality has extended an air quality advisory through at least Monday for all regions of the state, with the smoking conditions becoming so bad in the Willamette Valley that air quality relief centers were open and a number of athletic contests and other events were postponed. The Clackamas County Public Health Division also issued an air quality health advisory Thursday and spearheaded the opening of air quality relief centers in Canby, Molalla, and Oregon City. Zoar Lutheran Church at 190 Southwest 3rd Avenue in Canby is open from noon to 6 p.m. with dinner being served at 5. Dogs on leash and other small pets and carriers are welcome, but please check with staff first. The Molalla Hope Extreme Weather Center is also open from noon to 8 p.m. And in Oregon City, the Father's Heart Ministry at 603 12th Street is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Service providers are monitoring the situation and will decide if they need to remain open overnight. With the smoke continuing to settle in the valley, experts expect the air quality to reach hazardous levels soon. All outdoor athletic competitions for the Canby School District are canceled Thursday due to the unhealthy air quality index, with outdoor practices being moved indoors if possible. And as of Friday night, air quality in the Portland metro area was still listed as very unhealthy and among the worst of conditions seen in decades. The Clackamas County Public Health Division says poor air quality due to the wildfires can cause health problems for people with chronic lung or heart conditions, the elderly, and children. Fine particles in smoke also can affect people suffering from asthma and other respiratory conditions. To avoid breathing problems or other symptoms, limit your exposure to smoky air and reduce time spent outdoors and in vigorous activity. Try to avoid driving in smoking areas, and if you do need to drive in these areas, keep your windows rolled up and vents closed. If you need air conditioning, people are advised to make sure you set your system on recirculate to avoid bringing smoky air into your car. Finally, drink lots of water. Staying hydrated can keep your airways moist, which will help reduce symptoms of respiratory irritation, such as scratchy throat, runny nose, and coughing. If you have heart or lung disease, such as those suffering from asthma, please follow your breathing management plans, keep medications on hand, and contact healthcare providers if necessary. For updates on air quality relief centers, visit clackamas.us/relief, or for information about shelters, transportation, or other resources, call 211. Two were killed and several more injured in a series of crashes on Clackamas County highways this week. On Monday night, a Welsh man was struck and killed in a motor vehicle versus pedestrian crash on Highway 26 between Sandy and Brightwood. Oregon State Police say a white Volvo commercial motor vehicle driven by Edgar Clark Jr., 62, of Troutdale, struck a pedestrian at approximately 11:20 p.m., later identified as 32-year-old Herman Neal IV. Neal sustained fatal injuries and was pronounced dead. Police said they do not know why Neal was in the roadway. Highway 26 was impacted for approximately 4 hours while the OSP Collision Reconstruction Unit investigated the scene. OSP was assisted at that incident by Clackamas County Sheriff's Office and ODOT. The second collision was a single vehicle crash at approximately 8:45 p.m. Tuesday, which occurred on Highway 211 west of Molalla. OSP said its preliminary investigation revealed a southbound white BMW X5 driven by 22-year-old Francisco Torres of Modesto, California, left its lane of travel, exited the road on the northbound shoulder, and struck a tree. Investigators found 20 pounds of packaged marijuana in and around the vehicle, and Torres allegedly exhibited signs of impairment. The rear passenger, 28-year-old Hubert Armas Pina, sustained fatal injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene, while the other passenger, 22-year-old Jesus Farias Alvarez, suffered critical injuries and was transported via life flight to Salem Hospital. Both men were also Modesto residents. Torres was injured and transported to OHSU prior to being arrested and lodged at the Clackamas County Jail on charges of driving under the influence of intoxicants and negligent homicide. Highway 211 was impacted for approximately 5 hours while OSP worked the scene. Oregon State Police was assisted by the Molalla Fire Department, Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, and ODOT. In June of 2020, local preteen Elliot Metz was in a predicament familiar to millions of other kids around the country and the world, facing a summer in which their usual sports and other pastimes would not be available due to the pandemic. A three-sport athlete in soccer, basketball, and baseball, Elliot instead turned his attention to something new. For fun, he headed to the Chehalem Valley BMX track in Newburgh, one of just 2 USA BMX sanctioned tracks that were open in the state at that time. His riding there happened to catch the eye of Harold Ridge, head coach of the Ridge Brothers BMX racing team with more than 20 years of experience. Ever since I first saw him that day, I just liked the way he rode, Ridge recalled. I remembered going up to him at the track and saying, "Just keep it up, man." I could tell right away he had the potential to be something special. He was right. Now 10, the Lee Elementary School 5th grader has stuck with Ridge's team and the sport of BMX racing and has become one of the fastest rising young stars, with a growing collection of gold medals from various big-time Oregon and West Coast races under his belt. Some of Elliot's most impressive performances have come on the sport's largest stages, including a first-place and second-place finish in his 2 events in the USA BMX Oregon and Washington State Finals at Emerald Valley BMX in Eugene in September. "He's really on a tear right now," Ridge said. "He's phenomenal, and he's a really good kid. I like kids like him that don't speak much and just go out and take care of business. He's also a very humble kid. He gets it. It's 45 seconds of hard work, win or lose." Early in the summer, Elliot had acquitted himself well on the national stage of BMX racing, making it into the finals in 3 out of 4 events and finishing 4th, 7th, and 8th against the best riders in the country. "It was really fun to watch," his father, Joe Metz, told Now Hear This Canby. "In less than 2 years, he's gone from novice to intermediate to expert, and now one of the top racers in the country. It's crazy to me. It's exciting to see his passion unfold before our eyes. He's driven and passionate about racing, and as a parent, it's exciting to see it come together for him. We're very proud." Ridge, who got into BMX riding with his brother when they were kids growing up in San Francisco, California, and started the team to give their own kids an outlet, said Elliot's attitude is one of the things that impresses him the most. His intense focus is what earned him his nickname, the Hammer. "He's a very quiet kid," Ridge said. "He doesn't talk much, but once he gets on the track, he's mean. That's where he got the name Hammer, just putting it down, just being ruthless on the track. But he's always very sportsmanlike as well." The Metzes are not the only Canby family that has come up through Ridge Brothers racing. Brothers Risden and Chance Miller, who also excelled in more traditional sports at Canby High School, including football, were also on the team in their day. Elliot's next big race will be this weekend at the Fall Nationals Metro BMX in Bakersfield, California. Cougar Country hometown sports coverage is brought to you by Reif and Hunsaker PC. When you need an attorney, turn to the firm Canby has trusted for over 50 years. Call them today at 503-266-3456. For the latest sports news, follow us on Twitter at Cougar Country OR and Instagram at Cougar Country Pod. Host Rex Putnam High School proved too much for a still injury weekend Canby football team Friday as the Kingsmen defeated the Cougars 34-19 at home to improve to 8-0 and remain the only undefeated team in the state at 5A. They are definitely a team to look out for in November, head coach Jimmy Joyce said of the Kingsmen. They've got some great playmakers on the perimeter and probably the biggest offensive line in the state. The Cougs, meanwhile, dropped to 5-3 and 2-2 in the Northwest Oregon Conference, but clinched the second seed in their division with a chance at a guaranteed playoff berth with a Week 9 win next week. Obviously, the loss was disappointing, but I'm happy with how our players battled, Joyce said. We have a lot of guys playing beat up and are just flat-out warriors. Joyce heaped particular praise on junior Andy Souls and senior Braden Snodderly, who play both sides of the ball as well as special teams. I don't think they have come off the field all season, Joyce said. They have been anchors in the lineup. The big news on the offensive side of the ball was the return of star running back Tyler Canold, who was leading the state in rushing yards before rolling his ankle on the opening kickoff of the Cougars' Week 3 win over Beaverton and has been largely unavailable since. He showed little rust in his return to full action in Milwaukee Friday night, carrying the rock 14 times for 169 yards and a touchdown. Having Tyler back is huge, Joyce said. We didn't know how limited he would be, but he was a warrior. Joyce also pointed to the performance of junior Parker Ackerman, who's also recovering from 2 ankle sprains and has been a jack-of-all-trades for the Cougs this season, starting games at running back, quarterback, and wide receiver. He had 9 carries for 61 yards and another touchdown Friday. Canby's final regular season game will be a pivotal home tilt with Hillsboro, which earned the matchup after defeating Southridge 41-21 Saturday. The winner of Friday's game will get a guaranteed trip to the postseason, while the loser will have to wait and hope the computerized rankings are in their favor.
Wow, Frankie, that sounds great. I didn't know that you could play the kalimba.
Yeah, well, I've been practicing a lot. I'm really hoping to make it onto the 434th season of America's Got Talent.
Well, good luck with that, man.
Yeah, hey, I was actually just about to check my email and see if they responded.
Uh-huh. Yeah?
Oh.
What?
Well, they hated it.
No way.
Yeah, they said it was really bad, but like not in like a funny way, so they're not interested.
Dang. What song did you end up playing?
The same one I was playing earlier. Listen, here's what I uploaded.
Oh. I mean, I kind of like it. It's like a dark remix meets Star Wars sort of sound.
No. That's not what I recorded at all. How did this happen?
Dude, it's like I always tell you. That choppiness you're hearing is because your internet provider speeds are on the slower side. Everyone focuses on downloading, but upload speeds are just as critical for students, remote workers, would-be reality talent show stars, really anybody who uses the internet to share their passion with the world.
Is there like a show called America's Got Bad Internet that I could audition for?
Maybe. Or you could just switch to Direct Link. They've got the most reliable upload speeds to pass any audition test. For uploads at the speed of learning, visit www.directlink.coop/internet or give them a call at 503-266-8111.
All right, joining us on the Canby Conversation again, we're so delighted to have back on Amy and Darryl Lenhardt. They are the couple that has been working now for 3 to 4 years to restore the store, working to renovate and bring back the Whiskey Hill store, which was the original Whiskey Hill School, and have been making some great progress. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're tired.
Yes, I bet. Yeah, it's because we were talking. We just did a walkthrough of the store, and the first, was it the first time I was out here, or the first time that you guys really started working on pulling down stuff on kind of the main demo work was in January of 2020. What was that milestone?
That was, we took down the first beadboard in January of 2020.
When did you start?
We bought it in October of 19.
Okay.
And our first major demo day was right after Thanksgiving. It was that long Thanksgiving weekend of 2019. And that's when we started ripping down all the paneling, and then we started tearing into the floor.
Yeah.
Because we had just gotten the cooler, had the big bank of coolers that the previous owners had.
Right.
And that let us see the state of the floor, which ended up just creating a gigantic hole in the building.
Yeah.
So
that was there for a year and a half.
Yeah, it was there for a long time.
Yeah. Remind us of your obviously your background and your kind of roots to the community. Basically, your reasoning for jumping into what has just been, and you knew it was going to be, but what has just been a monumental undertaking, and why you wanted to do this rather than this job that no one was volunteering for.
Well, we grew up out here,
right?
And we met when we were 5 in kindergarten, but we didn't get married until 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So when we bought this, we'd only been married 4 years, but it was his idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
But did I want to test her?
Throw him under the bus a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, she does it every time.
Well, because everyone thinks it was my idea, but it was not.
Nothing like a good renovation project to test a marriage, right? So, no, it was, because we had been living on the East Coast when we first got married, because I'd been serving the Navy for years, and that was my last assignment. Stayed in Virginia, and then Amy came back. She was living back there until somewhere in, I think, 17, 18. I think 17 when I said, we knew we wanted to get back to Oregon.
Yeah.
And so we started making plans for getting back here, and we would visit often, and we'd drive out here because we still have friends and family out here, and be like, wouldn't it be neat to live in Whiskey Hill? We knew when we first came back we wouldn't be out here, but we said, long term, can we find a place? And obviously we would come by and we'd see the store, and we'd reminisce, and we'd cringe and cry, like, oh gosh, it's in horrible shape.
Right.
And a couple times we said, wouldn't it be something if we owned that old place?
Yeah.
So no, she's learned to be careful what
I've learned about Darryl Lenhardt is when he starts talking about something, he's gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
It might not be tomorrow or next week. It might be a year or years down the road, but he's going to make it happen.
Yeah. You guys both had a lot of experience with kind of contracting, doing this kind of work. Amy, you had a career restoring like antique furniture,
small things, very small things,
not building size things.
No, but it's all applicable.
Yeah,
it's I've applied the same principles to a tiny piece of furniture to a huge building.
Yeah, a wall.
But
wood is wood, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I would say mine's a hodgepodge. I mean, I never worked professionally as a contractor.
Gotcha.
Maybe a tiny little bit when I first got out of high school. I worked as a finish carpenter, and so that was my one little introduction kind of into the trades.
Yeah.
I went to college to study engineering, so I worked summers. My dad owned Trustee Structures in Woodburn. My uncle was his head engineer, and so I worked in the engineering department. So I understand buildings.
Yeah.
But from plans and paper and things like that, I've never dove into a project this big before.
Gotcha.
But that's how his brain works, and he's very much a problem solver.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything halfway. So every aspect of the project, it's like I'm just sitting here looking at the trim work in the house. Like, okay, I have to do all the trim work in the house. And so he watches videos and he reads everything he can get his hands on, and he talks to everyone. And then the end result is, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so, but that's how he has attacked every aspect of this.
Well, and the biggest challenges was just when we talked about diving into that floor. We laughed because we were like, when we were preparing to buy the building, we had it inspected, and a foundation specialist said, yeah, the foundation looks good. There's a few areas that I'm not sure about underneath that cooler, but otherwise your foundation's in good shape.
Yeah.
Which was our key criteria. Like if we were told, hey, the foundation's just,
you can't fix that.
Yeah. We were like, we were going to walk away.
Yeah.
Well, what do I end up spending a year doing is jacking up portions of the building so I could either reinforce the foundation or completely jackhammer it out and
I remember
form it up and
I remember one time they came out here, the whole front of the entryway, the whole front entryway was on like bricks and jacks and stuff.
Yeah, it was on 14-foot tall jacks. Yep.
Cinder blocks
and that was I when we started tearing into it, and we just kept finding more and more rot, and he was right. The main structure in the heart of the building is hardy, but a few key places, the bell tower, when they moved the building, they didn't make a foundation for it really at all.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get under there.
So it was settling. And then we knew there was problems you could see it when you drove up to the building. You're like, there's boards, siding bulging out. There's a problem. We thought that was going to be our only problem, but we ended up, a half of the building's foundation I had to touch in some way or another.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, so
we knew a little bit, and we've learned a lot.
We learned a lot, and we took some, we just kind of had to take a leap of faith, kind of go, okay, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
It's an engineering problem. Just how do I get the building up off the ground, stable enough that then my friends that do concrete work can come in and put a real foundation underneath it.
Yeah. That problem solving, like you were talking about, Amy. Real quick, before we obviously talk much more about the building and what you guys have done, but I know you, Darryl, did both of you have parents, grandparents, ancestors that came through the original school or the 91 school?
I did not. He did.
Yeah. My family has been out here longer. We're third generation out here. So my grandfather moved out here in the 30s.
Yeah.
My grandfather was the, chairman of the school board for this little school district.
Yeah.
And my dad later was chairman of the school board for 91 school.
Yeah.
And we just had a lot of
But your dad went
a lot of roots.
His dad,
and my dad went to
to
school in this building along with two uncles.
His dad graduated from 8th grade in 1945.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
He's 91.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what
where they got
the name.
So there was a lot of history out here for the Lenhardt family.
Yeah. I do want to just revisit as well for folks who don't remember, but you kind of mentioned before you took on the project and bought the place that it was in very bad shape. It had been obviously it was originally a school, had been used as a store for a number of years, went through different owners, but for a few years there it was just getting really kind of junked up and just like you said, it's sort of for folks that, and we'll talk about the community as well, but that are so ingrained into this community and remember the history of this place was a real, I think, pain, to see what it was becoming.
Yeah, in 2017 when we first, again, it was a visit out here for my daughter's wedding. She got married up in Washington State, and so that's when we first came out here, and just like we kind of just, hey, we're gonna just go check the store out.
Yeah.
And the owner,
I want to go check the store out.
I want to go check the store out. All right, I'll phrase it. Keep using the wrong pronoun.
Yes.
Yeah, and we came and we talked with the owners, and it was just it was an odd kind of experience, and then I was heading back to Virginia, so get on the airplane's Wi-Fi. I'm doing some research about the store, and then it's like, oh, it's going to sheriff's auction in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And so we started. We had our friend here, who's our attorney, went to the auction just to kind of observe. He ran into a few other people that we knew, and it was a member of the community that had grown up in one of the large Mennonite families out here. And there had been a consortium of people who were like, we want to pool our resources to buy it just so we could get control of it.
Yeah.
And try to bring it back to life.
Yeah.
And not have it fall into who knows what hands, or worse, or just somebody come along and just demolish it.
Right.
And so yeah, there was a lot of people, and so many of the people, particularly people who grew up in the 50s and 60s, as they visit here, they're like, oh, I remember it was Candy Fridays. And they would have a break, and teachers could walk their classes across the street, and kids come in here, and
we had a crossing guard set up, and
buy treats and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was,
the community is ecstatic.
Mm-hmm. It brings back a lot of memories for a lot of people, and the majority of the memories are very, very positive that people have.
Because it's such a small, kind of tight-knit community, isolated in some ways, and the store for decades was just the lifeblood in a lot of ways. It was where people would go, and I remember, and I just shared this with you, Amy, early on, and you probably already had it, but an old feature I'd found in the Oregonian where the owner at that time, his it was very much the general store of
Seymour's.
Yeah, there you go. But his catchphrase was, if I don't have it, you don't need it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That picture of him that's the only picture we have from inside the building. We don't have a single other picture from inside the building from any decade.
Really?
That's it.
Wow. That's
I have asked so many people.
Yeah.
But people who lived in the building, and we just didn't take pictures, So, or they're gone, they're missing.
Yep.
So
a lot of them have disappeared.
Yeah. Jim Seymour.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk more about kind of the meaning, and you guys have alluded to it a few times, but how much this means to the community, because I know that's been one of the big things with this monumental undertaking that's really kept you going, is folks appreciating it, coming by and helping. What can I do to help? Just being so overjoyed.
Feeding us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last Saturday was probably our last demo day, and it was taking up the last of the subfloor that Jim Seymour probably put down in the 70s. And I have a running total, but I need to update it. I think we have somewhere around 600 hours of volunteer service here over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So that is a huge amount. Yeah. And that goes from, the corn fairy, Karen, showed up with corn, and now she's become one of my best friends out here, to, Richard Krupp spending, I don't even know how many days helping us wrap the house and tear things up, and people dropping, we need jacks, and you go out front and there's 10 jacks showed up from different people. To... I just is in our Facebook group. We have over 2,000 people in it now. And so it's not huge, but it's a good group.
Yeah.
And so when we need something or we need help, I just throw it out there. And I want to say every time somebody has come through, and whether it's just a small thing or huge, like someone showing up with a track hoe to dig for us.
Yeah.
When we don't know how we're going to get this trenching done.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
you can rent them. Well,
yeah, we know. Yeah,
that
but
means
then
I would have to know how to operate them too.
Yeah.
So.
which is a whole other
Right.
aspect.
It's really nice to have somebody shows up with the one that they use all the time, and they, get a job done in a few minutes. That would, we'd fumble around in hours.
Yeah,
So
because there's a learning curve with everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, when people show up and they know what they're doing, it's like, oh my goodness. Like we hear people, like right now, we can hear people out there working.
Yeah.
I love that sound of someone who knows what they're doing, doing it, and I don't have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me very happy.
Right. I hear that all the time because everyone knows more about how to do that stuff than me, so I'm always getting that feeling.
I'm Roz Mason, running to be your next District 26 Senator. I work for a living too. Like you, I've seen prices rise steeply in local stores. It started with COVID, when we could understand supply chain backups. That's still 30% of inflation. But can you guess the biggest reason prices are climbing? 55 to 60% of inflation is corporate price gouging. Wall Street companies are making record profits. Take gas. One of the big oil companies made $13.2 billion more this year than last. Want the facts and figures? Check out masonfororegon.com/inflation. This is not fair. In Salem, I will fight for policies that help working people and our rural communities to prosper. Paid for by Mason for Oregon 21968.
Darryl, and obviously Amy, you grew up in this community as well, but Darryl, you kind of mentioned your family's deep roots in the Whiskey Hill area. What has the community's kind of engagement and all the volunteers that have helped you out along this project kind of meant to you?
Well, it's been I'd say enriching experience, because a lot of the people that have come and helped were, I'm the youngest of five by a lot. My oldest sister's 12 years older than me.
Yeah.
So like our family's really spread out. So here's like this older pack of siblings that were really embedded with, the community around here. And then it seems like a lot of their peers have been the ones coming back and helping us.
Yeah.
And so they're not people I grew up with, because I was just a little tiny thing when they were like teenagers and they went off to college. But all of a sudden now, people that were like growing up with my older sister now have become like a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Because obviously the age doesn't mean anything at this point.
Right.
And we're all old.
Yeah, we're all old. It's like they're just a little bit older than me.
Right. Right.
But yeah, people that are like, that I'd never even met, but I knew of the family.
Yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, oh, well, that guy's become like, like literally I'm going to go hunting with one of the guys. It's like, I didn't even know him before this project.
Yeah.
But we formed a great relationship.
Brought people together. Yeah.
He pulled up. It was very early on. I was standing on the very tip top of a ladder where it says "Don't stand on here" to clean the gutters in the front of the shop, and Darryl was like in the back, probably cleaning the gutters.
I always
back
felt
there.
like that was just a suggestion.
Yeah, it's not safe.
Yeah.
But he pulls up in a truck.
Don't stand unless you have to.
Yeah, unless you're 5'2" and you can't reach the gutters. He pulls up and he said, "Who are you?" And that was my introduction.
Yeah. Oh,
but he literally was here like an hour ago.
That's the standard greeting out here, though.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Well, then, when he found out, like, what our last name was, he was like, oh. Yeah. Well, his dad went to school with Darryl's dad. He's a little bit older. But a few weeks ago, Darryl's talking to somebody, and then the phone rings. He talks to somebody else, and I was like, you have way more friends out here than I do. But, this kind of lends to, it's more of a guy thing. Yeah. I mean, there have been a few women who have come and swung hammers and things, but a lot of women have fed us and cared for us and in wonderful ways, but just a lot of guys just coming alongside to do the hard work. Yeah. And again, just their families have been out here for generations. My family didn't move out here till 1968, so we're new timers, and no one even hardly remembers my family, and that's fine. Yeah. But
we laugh because you like I said, 1968. So you're talking
a long time ago.
Over 50 years ago, and people that grew up out here will still refer to the house that she grew up in by its previous owner's name.
You live in Jack's place. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you live in Elias's old house.
Yeah.
It's like they hadn't lived there for decades.
But
she died in 1962.
But yes, the community involvement. I mean, it's just it is. Well, we couldn't have done it. Yeah. I mean, we would not be here without the help and support and encouragement and blood, sweat, and tears of everybody.
Well, and another just kind of aspect of this saga, and we won't dwell on it. We've kind of covered it in previous times we've had you on in previous stories, but I wonder if maybe listeners are chuckling when we started this in early 2020, but like. The subtext of obviously everything that happened that year, everything that happened last year, ice storm, this whole area was out of power for more than 2 weeks.
So we were living in the RV through COVID.
Right.
Then through the wildfires. Then through the ice storm. And then the heat dome.
Right.
And we were living 15 feet from the street in an old RV.
But you kind of saw, even as you're working the story, but it hasn't even come back online yet, but like that you guys were getting help, involved in kind of leading some of the help, but like it was still already in the school as well, but kind of being part of this kind of community center for helping each other and kind of
we were able. Well, during the ice storm, a neighbor brought what we needed to get our generator going. Actually, 2 different neighbors, so we could have water. Yeah. So people could come, and a few people took advantage of that. And in the heat dome, we had sprinklers running, and our mail lady was dunking her head in that.
Oh, I remember that.
We had just giving people some cold water when it's 120 degrees outside. Yeah. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then your idea with the porch store. That was because I think it was a young.
It's a kindergartner.
Yeah, a young kid. It was just like, we wanted the store open for quite a while. It was just so anxious. So we were like, what could we do?
Well, he came up. I was on the ladder out front. He came. It was Sheila Daniels and her grandson, and he said, "You need to sell ice cream here."
Yeah.
And I said,
"Yeah,
okay, I'll see what I can do." Is it Oliver? That was 2 years ago. Okay. So I think he's a second grader this year.
Yeah, I think
at 91.
Okay.
Oliver doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
anyway, I got a fridge and put some ice cream and drinks in it.
Yeah.
And it's been crazy. Yeah. I thought, we'd sell a couple ice cream bars and a few candy bars, and then it got to the point where, like right now, I just couldn't even keep it stocked anymore.
Right.
Like I don't have time for this.
Right.
And we got to move the fridge and all that, so it's time to shut it down. But it was almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
And, you know, as the last few weeks, as kids have come and I've told them, hey, we're going to have to shut it down so we can get this real store open, and their lipstick's out. They're all sad and pouty. I'm like, but the inside's going to be even better, you know. Yeah. But part of the reason I did that was to get people used to coming here. Yeah. That younger generation who didn't know this as a store. Mm-hmm. And now they know that, you know. Yeah. Now they're waiting for the Skittles to be back, you know.
Yeah, we had all kinds of regulars. Parents rolling through, and it was
old timers having their Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's a great seg. So let's talk about what this is going to be, what your vision is, and kind of where we're at.
Well, as I was telling you earlier, that we really want the Whiskey Hill store to be the heart of the community here. And again, as this sign that's sitting behind me, it says Whiskey Hill Community Center.
Yeah, it's like
early on.
It's like a massive sign.
Yeah,
it's like 4 by 8. Okay, I was going to say 4 by 6. Yeah.
And it was at the top. It was on the front of the bell tower, and discovered recently that the original lettering was there. So I restored it, and
but used it Whiskey Hill Community Center.
Community Center, not Whiskey Hill Store. Yeah. And that's what we want it to be. Yeah. We want people to come, you know, sit by the pellet stove. Or sit by this beautiful 9-foot tall windows with the sun streaming through. Grab a cup of coffee, a sandwich. You know, we'll have ice cream. We'll have coffee and drinks and food, kind of deli type food. Mm-hmm. Groceries, lots of candy. Mm-hmm. And some home goods and some vintage items, and we're going to have seating inside. Outside, it'll be all landscaped with a patio. And we hope to do some special events. Yeah. And we also have 2 guest rooms that are already, those are already active. Yeah. So we've had almost every weekend, we've had guests. Cool. For the last 2 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's we have 1,000 ideas of things to do here. Sure. But we want people to feel like this is, a fun place and a gathering place and a place to meet with neighbors and friends. And, we want to be a support for the commuters coming and going in the morning and afternoons, but also a destination for people outside the community. We have like 3 wedding venues within 2 miles of us. Yeah. We've had wedding guests stay here overnight. We want to partner with the wineries and the wedding venues and all of, the friends that we've made out here who have businesses going in Aurora and Hubbard and all the farmers out here and the flower farmers and pumpkin farmers and everything to, create kind of the Whiskey Hill experience.
Yeah. You got the Whiskey Hill Winery. That feels like a pretty good.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. We think so.
Yeah. You've had a few years to plan it out.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we do the special events. We want to have a chance to have
some music.
Yes, definitely have some live music.
Yard games.
Yep.
The Amy's creativity. Even going back into the spring, where we're like, there's the huge tulip festival.
Yeah.
Every year draws 100,000 people out here.
Right.
And we're like, well, let's take advantage of all that traffic. Yeah. And she said, let's open up our parking lot and have a few vendors out here. And we thought, we'll have 2-3 vendors and little, no big deal.
Yeah.
Oh no, as everything that she starts, it just kind of mushrooms. And I think one Saturday we had 15 vendors out here.
Wow. There were 2 Saturdays we had 15. We had 30 different vendors throughout the month.
That's amazing.
5 different food vendors, food trucks, plus the bakers that were here. That everyone, literally had someone contact me yesterday. Yeah. Who made those whoopie pies? So.
Made an impression.
We had 300 to 500 people through every day.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was just crazy. And the weather in April, probably most people don't remember because like they were tucked in their little homes or something.
Right.
We were out in the parking lot holding down tents and staking them and waiting them.
Yeah.
But gosh, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean,
great.
we just met. So the vendors were just amazing, just to meet them and build that community.
Yeah.
And then, but then to meet just all the people who were coming through, whether they were local or from Portland or wherever they were coming from to go to the Tulip Festival. And I mean, we had people coming out here just to come to the Makers Market, which blew my mind. Like, oh no, I drove from Hillsborough just to see this. I'm not going to the Tulip Festival. I just wanted to see this and meet you. And like, what? So yeah, it was pretty successful. And I mean, everyone's still, you know, okay, are you going to do that again? And we will.
Yeah.
You know, everything is going to look a little bit different.
Yeah.
As we move forward.
We probably can't have quite that many vendors, but we could still have a good 10 vendors.
We'll have a lot more space not in the parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really curious how you're going to approach the kind of food aspect, you know, like with everything else you've been doing. I assume you're going to, it'll be, you know, some kind of working with the community and kind of finding out what you think would work best or what folks kind of are expecting to see. Probably have.
I don't sleep very much these days thinking about that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah. Sorry. Another thing just got added to Daryl's to-do list.
No, he doesn't sleep much either. It's like, it's 3 o'clock, we must be awake.
Right.
Got something on our minds.
But you know, this store, because we're not just opening like one thing. We're opening a coffee shop, a deli, a grocery store, and then like the home goods and store merchandise aspect, and the guest room. So we have 5 different levels.
And the event space.
Well, yeah, we're not even going to talk about that.
Okay.
But that's all. It's like hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But I mean, we won't hit the ground running at 100%.
Yeah.
We will open with a very limited drink menu and a very limited food menu.
Yeah.
And you know, and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, I need staff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hiring.
Yeah.
I thought I would be inundated with applications. I haven't been. But I do have some really good candidates, and I'm excited about that.
Nice.
But definitely need more.
Yeah.
So it will be dependent on that as well.
Sure.
You know,
yeah, that'll
because
be
I need staffing.
big part of what guides that. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, I approach like every vendor, everything. It's like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I need your help. And they're like, great, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
You know, so as far as food and groceries and all of that stuff and the coffee, and I have I'm so thankful that I've met so many people who have just been amazing as far as our roaster and our equipment and everything. They're just awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm contacting like vendors that were at the Makers Market to have their products in the store, to try to, you know, have different things there available, you know, through.
We've had a lot of feedback from people in the community. We've had people stop. Maybe one pair guys that were, I don't know, we were just out working in like a nursery or farm
somewhere.
They were just field worker guys, and they stopped. We probably talked for 45 minutes about, here are all our ideas. We can't wait till you're open. Here's what we'd like to see.
Yeah. This is a sandwich you can name after me. It's onions and peanut butter.
But like really practical things. Like he's had been thinking about our store. Random stranger, and he just shows up. He's like, okay, this is what you need. This is what me and my friends need here. I'm like, okay, we'll have it.
Yeah, because around here there's a lot of people that come out and work in all these fields, all these nurseries, and it's like you said, very practical things like, make sure you've got lots of batteries, because we like to wear radio headsets and often, or make sure you got work gloves so we don't have to drive all the way into town if we have glove that tears, it's a short drive for us at a break to just get a fresh pair of gloves.
Yeah.
Simple stuff like that.
Idea.
Yeah. Super practical. Yeah. And
as far as menu items, I mean,
well, everyone's got an opinion on that.
Yeah, there's tons of opinions.
I'm shocked. No. Yeah, absolutely.
You should have this. You should have that. We won't have. We're not a diner.
Yeah.
We don't have a big grill.
Yeah.
We don't have a deep fryer.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to come and get a, cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah.
But there's other ways that we can,
There are so many other options.
Yeah. There's so many options anymore.
There's so much you can do with what we're limited to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking about when you guys might be open?
Well, we're shooting for end of November.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do between now and then.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really coming together. I mean, you can definitely see that the construction work is
it's
done.
Just the coordinating now. It's like really getting the coordination down. Like
You're at
the
kind of, what do they call it? But like a warm shell, or like a ready to. Finally at that stage of ready to move in and really turn it into
like
what we're
the electrician. I heard the electrician talking to the floor guy just before we came back here, and he's like, okay, so are you sanding on Monday? He's like, oh, I'm not going to be here. It's like, oh, good, because we're going to be here Monday, because they've been working around each other all day,
right?
So we're hoping to coordinate electrical and maybe some plumbing next week. I don't know. And then floors the following week will be sanded and some top coat down.
Well, and the big thing is
and then a build out.
You're seeing the excavator out here with them doing a whole bunch of the work, and we got all the concrete work in, all the hardscapes, and now it's lots of final grading. But I'll feel much more comfortable because we got some water lines outside for outside watering that need to get put in. And then they can wrap up the parking lot. As you saw, there's huge chunks of asphalt we're taking out. Mm-hmm. So we got a whole bunch of parking lot work to do and getting the lines all done. And then we have the ADA access. Mm-hmm. So that's probably the last major build out is that exterior deck and ramp. And
it's pretty major.
Yeah.
But we have to get the asphalt cut, the water lanes laid before the ADA can be built.
Yeah.
So it all crisscrosses.
Yeah.
So coordinating all that.
Once that's done, and
getting on people's schedules.
Right. And then, so the front will be done and ready to go, and then the build out on the inside. So getting all the cabinets in place, getting all the appliances in. So I'll have some more time, under the building.
Yeah.
I get to climb around and run data wires so we can actually have a point of sale system and a few things like that.
Yeah. So. Awesome.
Cool. All that stuff. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Do we have, I know we have social media. We're at one point we're working on a website.
We have a website.
We have the website.
Yep.
Okay. So
WhiskeyHillStore.com.
Okay.
It
Check
is
that out.
We're working on expanding that.
Yeah.
It's it's a shell kind of right now.
Yeah.
There's some story on it. It needs to be updated.
Also, it's accurate to the.
Yeah, there you go. We have someone working on that.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, there's just so many balls in the air to juggle. It's hard to get it all covered.
Yeah, absolutely. But WhiskeyHillStore.com and Whiskey Hill on social media. Definitely follow those to keep up to date. Anything else that you guys want to share?
What you got? Anything?
I don't know. What's our tagline every time we finish something is
on to the next thing.
Well, there's a couple things we say. One thing is every time we finish something that's ridiculously hard, which is just about everything.
Like this interview.
We say, well, Nothing to it.
I thought it was going to be like, where's the whiskey?
I might say that.
What we say is we hope that you will join us here at the Whiskey Hill store.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we are very excited. It is just having, been along for the journey a little bit.
Yes, you've been
but
here.
from the beginning.
Yes.
For what it's worth, it is staggering what you guys have done. It is so amazing. You guys are incredible. And we just really appreciate your time today and all the time you've given us over the years and all your work that you've poured into this place.
Well, we appreciate your support and encouragement over the years very much. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Tyler, did you know that the Australian lyrebird can mimic any sound that it hears, even chainsaws?
No, that's super interesting.
Did you know that a baby puffin is called a puffling? Or that baby sea otters can't swim, so their moms wrap them up in pieces of kelp until they learn how to paddle?
Wait, do you know any trivia that isn't like animal related?
Not really, but here's some stuff you may not know about the Wild Hare Saloon, where Canby goes to eat and have fun.
Okay.
The Wild Hare is one of Canby's longest running locally owned restaurants. Owners Joan and Darren Moden have been in business for 16 years.
That's cool.
Heck, you were just a baby back then.
Wait, what?
And they love to give back. They've been members of the Canby Chamber for that long, and they donate over $20,000 to local sports, FFA programs, and civic organizations each year.
Wow, I'm legitimately caught off. That's cool.
Yeah. They also support more than 30 jobs in the community through their award-winning staff, some of them as young as 18. Hey, that's older than you are.
Dude, I'm 10 months younger than you.
With the days getting longer and the weather getting warmer, the Canby Wild Hare's expansive outdoor patio is the place to be. Furry friends, welcome.
Well, that sounds great. I'm going to go check them out just off of Highway 99E next to the Space Age in Canby at 1656 Beaver Creek Road in Oregon City, or on their website at thewildharesaloon.net. Now Hear This Canby is produced by me, Tyler Clausen. Our content director and star reporter is Tyler Frankie. And of course, our show is edited by Cameron Clausen. We also feature the vocal talents of Joyce Struby and James Walden, so a round of applause to them. The song that you're hearing right now is Canby by singer-songwriter Olivia Harms, used with her permission. To find more work from her, you can visit her website olivia13.com.
Now Hear This Canby is dedicated to preserving independent local journalism and redefining local news with our fun, fresh, and energetic brand of storytelling. Our sincere thanks to our local sponsors who make this show possible. Please show your appreciation by supporting the small businesses who support us.
The production of Now Hear This Studios, Canby's locally owned full-service audio, video, and media production company. Our mission is to produce the best content in the universe, and we'd love to help you do it. Find us online at nhtstudios.com.
I will take a motion to adjourn.
I just moved it.
I didn't even ask for it, though.